Welcome everybody to another hand feeding video. Today we are doing budgies. Got a couple of containers here. It's going to be interesting because these guys at least are at that age where they're almost violent in their feeding. Let's get to it. Ow, ow, ow. You see here, they're not exactly gentle. In fact, they're little bitey bastards. They're not exactly strong enough to break the skin, but my hands are always a little bruised. They're always a little bruised up after a feeding. This guy's not too, ow, this guy's not too bad. They're still kind of a little bit painful. So a nice, good slow feed rate. Budgies are always fun to have in hand feeding. You can have quite a few of them. They're very active, as you can see and hear in the background. They're also very active and assertive. They're out for playtime, lap time, shoulder time. A little harder to poop train, that's for sure. But they're small birds, so not much damage is done. Who's next? Which one of you bitey bastards, owie, is next? Whenever they go up to my fingers like this, I always gotta wonder, oh, the poor parents in the nest must get just chewed up. They're also pretty rough with each other, so you got to keep a good eye on them in the brooder. Well, I've never really seen any blood or pulled feathers or anything, but sometimes they get a little mean with each other. And since you can't see the crop because of all the feathers they have, kind of got to go by feel and their feeding response, they will kind of slow down when they're done and get a little less bitey. Now they're just kind of nibbly. Very cute. Sometimes when they get out a little older, I can put my hand into the brooder and pull them out, and every finger will have a budgie stuck to it. All right, he's eager. He looks so hungry, but it's only been 4 hours since their last feeding. They can go longer, at this age at least, but since I'm also feeding the younger ones, I might as well feed these guys too. Give them more smaller meals instead of just a few big ones. Budgies are a little more challenging to hand feed. They don't feed as smoothly as condors or as openly and easily as cockatiels. They have smaller beaks. They have a slower rate of swallowing. So you got to be really careful not to flood their mouth with formula. They can easily choke and aspirate. Look over here, buddy. Over here. Look. Over here. There we go. Oh, no. Forget about the finger. There we go. And sometimes if they feed much too slowly, especially when they're young, you have to shoot them. I'll give you a demonstration on that with one of the younger budgies. It's not a technique that a novice should attempt, but it is rather effective with a slow eater, and it can be safer with budgies once you get really good at it, because you have less chance of them aspirating if you do it right. That'll do it for you. But I've done it quite a few times. I actually took a look and crunched some numbers. In a couple of months, I will be coming up on my 500,000th hand feeding. The process of picking up an individual bird, giving him a feeding, and putting him back. I will have done that process 500,000 times over the course of years. Of course, it makes sense. You have one baby that's fed 5 times a day for 6 weeks, then 4 times, then 3 times. Every baby gets hand fed quite a number of times. There are lots of Bitey when they're fed. Ow, ow, ow. This guy goes right to the soft spot, right between the, ow, hey. You don't really break the skin, but it gets pretty tender after a while. Over here, there we go. Mostly blues and whites in this first clutch. Well, they're all blue and white in this first clutch. I think got probably 4 blues and 2 whites. White pied. They're pretty messy eaters compared to the other birds. So I'll show you how I shoot them in the next. Here's the hand feeding. He's still pretty bitey. He must still be hungry. You see, they feed a lot slower. It takes a lot longer to hand feed a budgie than it does one of the larger birds. But the hand feeding is what makes the difference between an untamed bird, like the ones you get from the pet store, and one that has been hand fed and hand raised. And he's still bitey, but he's full. Let's start on the next batch. Got some younger ones here, another clutch. Got a whole mix in this clutch of colors. Some of the older ones first. They're still pretty bitey, but being younger, they feed a lot slower. And I can tell he is swallowing a bit more air. I'll wait until he opens up and shoot him. Shooting just means that you shoot some formula down into his crop, kind of bypass the whole swallowing routine. Has to be done very, very carefully. You can feel them when they're in your hands, and when you're feeding. You can feel them opening up, and then you know you have a straight shot from their mouth right down into their crop. Everything's open, the airways are closed, the stomach is open, and you can squeeze a little extra formula in there. But if you do that at the wrong time, you're just going to shoot it right down into the lung. It never happened to me before, but I've heard it happen to other people quite a bit. So be very careful when you do it, when you feel them opening up. You saw there, I must have shot probably half a cc right into him. It does speed things up considerably, but it's still a longer process to hand feed a budgie. Good thing they're so darn cute. That'll do for him. He's full. Go one of the smaller ones. With the blue and white. We charge the syringe. I only use these special O-ring type syringes, not the regular oral syringes. These are quite a bit pricier and Well, they're hard to find and they take a long time for shipping. But they are a lot smoother. They are reusable. All the regular rubber gasket oral syringes that you find in the drugstores and off Amazon, they're good for one bird hand feeding. And you gotta dispose of them and use a new one. They're cheap, but they're not very smooth. And I would never try to shoot with one of those oral syringes, a cheaper gasket one. This guy is not really feeding at all. He does not want anything to do, but he's got to eat. Wait till he opens up. Opens up. There we go. Give him a shot. He does not want any more, but he is full enough to last 4 hours, no problem. Next feeding, he'll probably be a lot more eager. Sometimes they're just too interested in what's going on. Or they just want to cuddle and go to sleep. Yeah, he wants to get warm, hide, and have a nap. I interrupted his beauty sleep. So we got another bud, second to last one. Let's see. Yeah, he's a little bit chewy. They've been in hand feeding now for quite a while as well, so it's probably about a week now. These younger ones. I usually like to pull them before they have their eyes open, so the first being they see, other than each other, is me. Oh, there he goes, opens up. A little bit more. There we go. Cheers, little guys. That's the last one here. Looks like we're going to have a yellow pied. Well, not too eager to come out. No, come here, you. He's not that hungry. He should be. At this age, he can be a little contrary. Get him started off. Him, because he's just not eating. This is where the shooting technique comes in handy. Otherwise, he'll just be hungry in an hour. There we go. These guys have been coming up for lap time, so they kind of got used to curling up in my hands and crook on my arm. That's just what he wants to do right now. He doesn't want to feed. He just wants to curl up somewhere warm and go to sleep. There we go. You gotta eat. Gotta eat your dinner. Can't have any pudding unless you eat your meat. A little bit more. No, he stuck his tongue into the end of the syringe. He doesn't want any right now. So I guess with him, I'll have to come back in an hour or two and give him a little bit of a top up. As they get a little older, they get more into the whole routine of feeding. But he just wants to get warm, cuddle up, have a nap. And I'll be waking him up in an hour and trying again. There we go. And those are the budgies. Probably do another hand feeding video in a week so you can watch how they grow and develop. Especially these small little ones. This guy's going to have some interesting colors. Until then, have a good one. I'm going to clean up the mess. We're ready for the next one.